Hello, this is Usap Tado. Kamustahan lang? Painting trends, the love of our hobby, and everything in between. You can catch us every Sunday evenings, either in the Philippine Tados group or over at our YouTube Philippine Tados official channel. Hi guys, this is this is the first ever episode. Yippee. Oh my goodness, stress,
Oh
but
my goodness,
yes,
we're doing it. Okay.
we're actually doing it. Just to let you guys know, why are we exactly doing this? I think we did Usap Tado a while back. Not naman 19 Kompo, but a couple of years ago. And life happened. Lots of things happened, but we thought it was a good way to rejuvenate, revamp, and come back with a fresh new take of Usap Tado. Because back then, I think Usap Tado was just a way for us to update. Oh, ito yung ginagawa natin for the hobby. These are the latest events. But now, it's a more, you and I talk. What's up? What's up with them? And I think that's pretty nice. But before we begin, I think it's good that we introduce the hosts that are doing this lovely podcast. And we'll start first with age before beauty.
Wow,
Come
you
on.
got me on that one. Hi. So my name is Milo, and you can find me in the World Wide Web with my handle at urban.persign. I'm a corporate worker by day, but a geek by night. So I've been painting miniatures since 2018, starting off from a Dungeons and Dragons background, which I've been playing since high school. And then one thing led to another. As you are in the miniature painting world, you'll end up with more advanced miniatures such as Warhammer stuff. Yeah, and I pass it out back to you, Beauty.
Yeah, thank you. You know what's so funny? Because I just found out about your username and the name I have on my IRL. People know me as Mars, but in the TTRPG scene, I'm known as Den Mother. All my tags are Den Mother Plays because I'm very much a mother bear. So it's funny. You're the Earth sign, and then I'm Mother Bear in my spaces. I'm known with a caricature of a bear hiding all the eldritch horrors in my onesie. But yeah, for a lot of people, they just know me on the TTRPG scene. I've run so many games. I've done almost like decades. It's gonna be 11 years. Jesus. I swear, guys. I don't have a problem. I totally love TTRPGs, but I think I've been pulled by Josh, my our lovely friend, since 2017 because you know how he hooked me into the painting hobby. Was telling me about the lore of Warhammer. He started me with the books, and then I started playing the TTRPGs. And when I got hooked into the Dark Heresy Warhammer Fantasy Fourth Edition, I was like, now I gotta paint. Now I gotta paint these now.
That's
It's
an
cool.
entire rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's a rabbit hole. Like maybe I didn't start in the painting scene specifically, but you start me with the lore, and if the world's that good, yeah, I'm gonna buy some plastics and get hooked. So I've been doing that for 2 years. Unfortunately, it stopped because I went abroad, but I'm coming back, and hopefully I can get back into painting
Yeah.
once again.
But before we jump into the topic, I think for those who are not familiar, because we're streaming this in other yeah, I think YouTube. So Mars is the real techie person here. I'm an old geezer.
Hello.
But Usap Tado is the podcast or the attempted podcast of the Philippine Tados community, which is a miniature painting online community started in the Philippines, but we welcome everybody around the world. You can join. We are also part of a network called Variable Play, which are mostly tabletop players. So
Hi,
hi
Ron.
to
Hi,
Variable Play folks.
Ron. Hi. Thank you.
We are we are back again. Yeah.
Awesome. And yes, yeah, speaking of, somebody already caught on the topic. And I think it's just, let's just get into it. Like, I kind of want to, before that, somebody said, gusto ko ma-experience yung hobby burnout. That's interesting. So, hobby burnout is a good problem for some, I guess, because the problem is family work. Adulting gets in the way of hobbies. So that is an interesting thought. So like, but real life does get in the way, and some folks, hobby is literally just like a one time like weekend endeavor. So it's interesting that you could get a burnout for doing something that you actually love. For doing like it's supposed to be some passion, something that to escape out of the responsibilities, as real John mentioned. Like you're adulting, you're paying bills, you're working Monday to Friday, the grind, corporate work and all that, family responsibilities. How do you get burnout? So
Well,
I guess that.
we have to. I guess before we jump in, have you ever experienced burnout, Mars?
Oh yeah, I think given I think burnout in general is just like when you're in a high stressful situation, or like you're constantly doing things under duress and you're not able to get some sort of relief, or there's a certain standard. So like in the case of when I worked as a community worker in Australia, there's like certain standards you have to meet. There's like
Mm.
a quality that you have to reach. So it's like definitely the burnout was there. So like a lot of people associate burnout with like the excessive work or the high standards or just stuff like that. So I think burnout is a very common experience, especially in the workspace. So it's interesting that it could happen in the hobby space as well,
Right.
which I guess spoiler, I did get hobby burnout as well.
Well, I've been painting for close to 9 years now.
Yeah.
I've gone through phases, and I want to distinguish between just being busy with other stuff and a burnout from the hobby. So I would say I've been busy a couple of times. From transitioning to work, transitioning to houses, life stuff. But I would say my longest burnout will be about, I would say, close to 10 months. Um, and maybe that's a jump to our first section of the topic, which is, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, is that let's talk about what is hobby burnout.
Yeah.
And we decided to have this first subtopic because we wanted to make sure that we first diagnose what it is first, recognize what it
Yeah.
is before we start talking about what we can do about it. So yeah, maybe I'll start off
Yes.
if it's okay. Well, first of all, for me, well, we're not experts about burnouts. We're not psychiatrists or psychologists who would know and understand things in a deeper level. But it's more of how we experience it, really. So for me, what hobby burnout is that there's a bit of a distaste to the hobby, which is quite ironic because you're doing a hobby to avoid burnout from real life, and yet you're getting burned out on this one. Again, I'm distinguishing being busy with other stuff versus actually burnout. So for me, what I experience is that either when I sit down and attempt to paint something, it's just that I'm not in the mood. My hands are heavier. My brush strokes are different or off. How I thin my paints are off. And there are even days that you just don't want to look at the miniature or at least do anything related to the hobby. And so on some weeks on end, they're just occupying space. And then when I try to do so, because I have this feeling, oh, I've already invested in a lot of things, I want to go back to it. It just feels heavy. And that to me was the time when I knew and realized that I was having a hobby burnout. How about you, Morris?
Thank you. I think the key word that you gave was distaste. Like, I think that resonates a lot because I think it's just that the thing you're doing, that the thing you love, the thing you're doing every weekend to run games, like there's already an expected schedule, or you already set aside time after like a grueling 7-day 9 to 5 job, right? Like finally I can sit down, paint a mini, or finally I can run a game with a couple of people. We've set the schedule. I think it just you realize the joy of what you're doing is gone. It becomes more of like what you said, the distaste, like, oh, I have to do this again. And I think it stems from like the sudden workload, or finally feeling like this uh, this value disconnect, or like you're no longer connected to what you feel. It's like back then it used to bring you joy, and now it's parang, is this just work now? Is this another job? Is like that, which is very difficult, especially in the case of somebody who might do painting or a creative hobby as a job, or like as content creation. That's like a lot of things can potentially happen when it becomes a chore, when it becomes something that what initially brought you joy is it's just gone. It's just you don't feel the connection anymore for that love that you had. Like that was a falling out. So
That's a very good point. I mean, I've done some commission projects, and
yeah.
I deliberately choose projects that I'm genuinely interested in the miniature or the lore of the miniature, because I know if it was something, and maybe those are those who would do painting for friends or for commission. If it's a miniature that doesn't call to you, it's a bit difficult to do that. And part of the distaste as well, I'm not quite sure if you've ever done army painting, meaning a whole set of army.
Yeah, fun fact. I did the Chaos Angels. It was a box. I couldn't finish it. I gave it. Actually, it's one of those regrets I had. I painted. It was half finished, and I had to give it back to the person. Like, I can't. It wasn't a commission, but it was like a daunting project of having to paint a full army of the Chaos Angels, and it was a 2016 set.
Would you consider that as a hobby burnout? Like when you're working on a 2000?
Oh no, I think it would be burnout in the sense of, because like the keyword for burnout is like this overwhelm and the expectations that you set to yourself, like that perfectionism, like, oh, I have to finish this, I have to be the same quality as. And the thing is, here's the funny part. My friend was like saying, just do what you want, practice on my minis. And the moment I put that expectation on myself at this high, impossible standard, because I was a baby, I was a baby painter, and I'm expecting to be in the likes of like, Josh or Louis, like they do that for a thing. And I'm like, I want to get to that level. It's going to look so clean. I'm going to do what was that thing? The
Non-metallic metal.
And the non-metallic metal. I was ambitious, and then when the overwhelm kicked in, and that's when I realized, oh shit, I'm struggling. Oh no, that's when the burnout happened. And
well, I say that because I've got a couple of armies, half-painted armies, and that's because at some point we do have a term that here in Filipino language, right? Umay. You just lose the momentum to finish it. And then I think I was sitting on 3 unfinished armies or half-painted armies. And then soon enough, in my head, I was like, okay, I want to start a new one, but I have this guilt of finishing the other one, but I don't like it. So and that's where the distaste comes from as well. Right? Yeah. It was a vicious cycle of, I don't want to start a new army because I want to finish this current army, but I don't feel like finishing this army. So rather than I go back. So it was a vicious non-starter cycle. Yeah.
And I think just with what you said, real John actually commented that I think that doing a big project, gets you that umay feels. So he used the word umay, yung kasawa na shift to another project, doing something different from what you're currently doing. That's how he's dealing with the burnout. And Ron mentioned in my journey in the hobby, from basic finding gamers to play my new game, to running a weekly game night, to helping out growing the community, there are many times I did reach burnout. Yeah. The community builders and growers, my heart goes out to you. There's this level of people don't see the amount of work that goes out into growing communities, and it's like at this point, it's like, if I don't do this, who will? Who will find these people? Who's going to get these people together? And that's always the back of the head worry, and then it ends up becoming overwhelming and stressful. Like, and the responsibility is not shared, so that becomes a value disconnect where it's like, oh, it's just going to be me. So I think it's a good segue, I believe, to get into, we talked about what is burnout, and we touched a bit of what causes
Yeah.
the burnout. But I think we can do a deep dive of what we believe causes it. Like, how did this happen?
Yeah, and you have a few, starting points there in what causes burnout, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So you wanna
Oh, you want me to go? I'm sorry. Okay, I have a couple. Yes. Guys, we're professional. No, we just like yapping. So I think the few things I mentioned it before, like with that project I did, painting like that big. I think it was more than 32 pieces of things. It was almost in the same level as the Indomitable set. The thing is the perfectionism, or that need to, like, you put a standard to yourself that you have to be good, be it like tabletop RPGs or playing Magic the Gathering. A lot of people feel that burnout in the hobby because, like, oh, I have to have, let's say in a cardboard crack, as I call it, or like Magic the Gathering, I have to have the best pre-con with the best cards, and I have to win every game. Like, it's the mindset of having to be the very best when it's a hobby. You're supposed to enjoy it. Why do you have to make it like I have to win in this situation? That, to me, that's the first potential friction of just putting the expectations above that it has to be a certain way. When, especially, like, it's difficult then when you're doing a collaborative game. Na parang, oh, it has to go my way. It has to go this. That's what causes a lot of friction. That's what causes the burn. And I mentioned as well a disconnect of values. This, to me, is I feel it more on a community collab setting. So we'll get to some examples. I think we have a couple of examples, but one of mine was the most extreme case of burnout I had when I was doing Dungeons and Dragons. Was, something extreme in life that I think if anyone goes through this, obviously that there'd be like it'll affect their hobby, it'll affect their passions, a death. So when a death happens, like in my case, it was a friend who was a pillar in the community who died. And then the moment that happened, not only are you dealing with the loss, the grief, and suddenly you realize you're alone. You're like, okay, there's this disconnect of, you realize the person that you're having that same values with, that helping run the community, is suddenly gone. So it's like it's that the sudden absence of, like, whether it's the absence of a person, the absence of the love of that hobby. You just realize, like, the moment there's that disconnect, it's like, how can I go back to this hobby enjoying it? I don't feel it anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Like, I'm gonna flip my response to that, because you already touched my supposed second cause of my burnout, which is a traumatic / emotional experience. And I remember it very clearly. It was about 2 a.m. in the morning, which most people love to do miniature painting, right? So I'm far away from my parents. They're living abroad. And I received a call that my dad was in critical condition. And I was in the middle of, and I remember the specific miniature I was working on in painting. So I started painting. So the rest of I guess that morning, all the way to 5 a.m., I was in a video call with my siblings and my mom, and I was still sitting on my hobby desk, and everything was still on a painting setup, right? And I guess that was my longest burnout, the 10 months that I talked about. Because every time I sit down, every time I get a miniature, I remember that experience of loss, especially loss that because I was not there physically. Although, it's understandable in that sense. I said my proper goodbyes and all. But even then, all the songs that I try to, all the stories, all the songs that I try to get me back up, I would remember something with my dad. And I'll tell you on our third section what I try to do, get over that obstacle. But that's one of the causes of my, or at least that's the cause of my one burnout. the other burnouts that I've experienced, and I think for most of people who are listening will resonate with this, is really just life. I mean, we are all getting old. We have life priorities from work, family, kids, gym, right? That could also result into burnout because when you're trying to paint, your back of your head, you feel you need to do something else. That there's another priority in life. That you're not in the zone, so to speak, right? You and that's one of the beautiful things about having a miniature painting hobby is because you're supposed to have this zone, this time by which it's dedicated. It's almost a zen motion to it, and you're not getting it because you have to pay the bills, you have to go to the gym, you have a deadline at work, you have to wake up early, you have travel, and that all adds up. And I think having only a 30-minute or 1 hour window may not be enough for you to enjoy the hobby. So you already know and feel like, oh, this is not going to be an enjoyable session, and that causes the burnout. At least for me, in the several short bursts of burnouts, like 3 months, a month, that I wouldn't paint because I know I have other priorities for the rest of the day.
And it's just like it's always like in the case of time, like we mentioned, like there's so much time to do other things. There's almost like a certain like guilt if to like I had this 1 hour for myself. I could have spent it for family. I could have done this. There's a lot of could haves with that 1 hour, but self-care is good. Like just having that hour to yourself. But even then, we feel guilty to take that 1 hour. And then some hobbies just take like, can I run a D&D session in 1 hour? No, like no. So it's like taking away a 4 to 5 hour thing of your. And the thing is, some hobbies it takes more than the 4 hours. You have to do the prep. You have to get the tools. You have to get whichever to set up the perfect storm of that hobby.
No, and you're right. I mean, I remember in my previous residence, I had a dedicated, not just a table, but room.
Yeah.
We had a small room. It was a dedicated setup, and it's easy for me to jump in and jump out because I don't have to fix it.
Yeah.
But for most of us, we have a pseudo. Here's a work desk that you use for your working from home or working remotely, but that also serves as your hobby desk, right? And for some of you, you might even be painting in the kitchen table, right? So that whole prep time is easily 30 minutes. And then you have to add in the take down or the wrap up, right? Which is another 30 minutes. So that easily is just 1 hour and you're not yet in the zone to paint. So if you have a dedicated workstation, great for you. Because it's a jump in, jump out kind of feel. You don't have to fix it, everything's there. And again, it's one of the tips as well to make sure that you're in the flow. But that I see 1 hour is not enough. Now, think about this: 1 hour away from taking care of your family.
Yeah, that's
mommy guilt or daddy guilt is real.
Yeah, especially like it's like this could have been an hour. I had more time. And especially like in an extreme situation like when yours happened, it's like that hour I could have been in a phone call. I could have done something. So it's like it's there's that guilt of participating in the hobby because it's like it could have been used for something better. And that's like a understandable thought, but it's a complicated thing as well. And it's a complicated feeling that we humans go through. It's like hobby, happiness, or personal thing, or responsibility.
Yeah. Well, for the listeners right now, what about you guys? Do you have any feeling that what causes your hobby burnout?
Yeah.
I think there are.
Real John actually mentioned that when we were talking about perfectionism, it paralyzes you in actually doing the work. It's a difficult battle. You want everything to be perfect, the right tools, paints, etc. You have to quote my bro, it's good enough, move on.
That's really good. When you and Real John said about perfectionism, it's not really perfect, but you have an image in your head of what you want to deliver, right? And you're stressing yourself out. And there's a point in time where say, this is far from what I thought it would be.
Yeah. It doesn't fit the vision, the standard that you've put. Like, I want to be shiny
Yes.
chromatic. Chromatic.
I know. But that's a beautiful thing as well with painting. So when I got back into the groove of painting again, I was able to finish some of these half-painted armies. One of the realizations I have is for the chaffs, the grunts, do whatever, right? I mean, do a basic job, do a slap chop, do a basic stuff. But spend time on the commander, spend time on the big pieces,
Yes.
and
The big boys.
manage and prioritize your time, your effort, etc. That's one way of I dealt with that. I wanted everything to be perfect, but then I realized it's a waste of time. First roll of dice, they'll die.
Yeah. Like, so I get, like, I understand that perfectionism is definitely a thing that could cause the burnout. And
But
yeah,
I guess also, I mean, sorry to cut you there, but so, like I said, I'm almost 10 years into the hobby. There will be a point in time wherein you have a steep learning curve where your skills and quality really jump up, right? And then you get to the point of I can do anything, right? And then from watching videos of basic miniature painting, you suddenly jump into watching the bigger players, meaning the really good painters. You now start to look at Golden Demon and other miniature painting contests. You look at them, you look at busts, you even probably thought about maybe I can do a bust or a 75 millimeter scale, right? And then you jump that expectation. And then for whatever reason, I'm not saying that you're bad, but for whatever reason, whether you got busy, you weren't able to practice enough, you fall short into that expectation. Right?
yeah,
And I think that's part of the perfectionism issue we talked about.
yeah. It's definitely hard once you, and it's like it's a struggle that's gonna be really hard to like get over, especially like if you have a vision that doesn't meet like the what do you call this, the expectation reality kind of situation. And I think it hits harder, especially. I mean, I'd like to know because like I'm a newbie. If I the only pressure I have is like I just want to do better. So I think it's like I want to do this level, and like doing an Icarus on the selves is very prone for newbies. But does it feel more impactful because like you said, you had the skill sets, you have 10 years under the belt, and then suddenly you have a struggle to it. Is it more of like you see it as a challenge, or like, oh, this is a good challenge, I haven't seen one in a while, or is it a, oh no, my skill sets didn't even get to this guy. So what's the general experience for like somebody who's been tenured for that?
Well, I guess what I do is really just look back. And when I say look back, we have tangible evidences of what to look back, right?
Yeah.
Like your very first miniatures and your best miniatures as well. And seeing, all right, this is the range of what I can do at the moment without deliberate practice yet. Are you happy with that is a question, with that range, right? And then when you get the free time, then deliberate practice comes into play. Like, okay, now I'm going to practice on glazing or on object source lighting or non-metallic metal. And then you just push that to the limit. I think for those who have been painting for more than 6 years now,
Yeah.
you would have felt that you were more productive / better during the pandemic if you were painting at that time. And I will admit, I feel that. I had that because we had extra time then. We were all stuck in our residences, right? We were all painting like crazy. There's
Yeah.
no need for us to wake up too early because, work is just 5 minutes away. So we had a lot of time, not just to paint, but to practice. And my level of painting back then was, wow, this is great. So when I came back around 2024, when I look at my painting, I was like, why can't I get back to how I
Yeah.
painted back then? And I
Yeah.
compared, the same miniatures. I'm going like, how did I do this? And just realized that back then there was, in a way, I know it was a bad time of everyone, but it was liberating to have a lot of those time to paint. And
Yeah.
you often wonder, how can I have the same time and effort to do that? And as your life has matured, I'm hoping in the last 6 years, you've hit certain milestones in your life, getting married, getting kids, getting promoted. Things just get in the way. So I think that's one of the things that you'll just have to accept and manage.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I feel like, yeah, there's definitely a deeper perspective when it's somebody who's tenured, because it's like there's just a lot more stacks, and added on to the fact that you have also like this family responsibilities and whatnot. So like there's definitely um, it'll definitely hit harder in terms of like my skill set, but it's all time. You just need more time. That's what it is. You just need more
Yeah.
time. Which is actually a couple more things we um what do you call this? Oh, so Milo. Relate ako. I missed the productivity during the pandemic. Not to be insensitive. Yung productivity lang.
I know, right? Dude, it was just,
We
and
did
I
so
remember
much.
that it's no, I mean, again, it was a chaotic time. I wouldn't want to go back for that because of the whole health scare. And mind you, I had a baby born during that time. So the
Yeah.
healthcare to me was really high. But then again, remember those late nights at 8 p.m. We really had a lot of time to ourselves, and everything else seems to have been silent. There's no traffic, so you don't hear it. There's no need for community, and now we were able to focus. The challenge for us, now that we're back to normal times, hoping that the Middle East conflict doesn't result to something else. But now we're back to normal times.
Normal.
Yeah, how do you then go back into that zone? Whether you create it or you schedule it is something that will be interesting for you to create an environment for yourself, and maybe now that you have a family, if you have a family, an environment for the household as well. Interesting. Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one who felt that way.
Yeah, like we were built different ones there. It's like you were able to just stay home and do stuff. Yeah, and going back to just like the final wrap ups for what causes hobby burnout, I think Ron, variable play, like yeah, all agreeing the sentiments when the hobby becomes more work than fun. Yeah, when it becomes the chore, when it's not something that you do for fun. Because to be fair, it's kind of it's a lot of work to do the paints. It's a lot to like read a full book and prepare for like an actual session. But the moment it doesn't become like, oh, I enjoy doing this too. Oh my god, I have to read 300 pages worth of this book. Oh my god, I have to like do the base paint, and then I have to do after the base paint, I have to do the arms, and oh god, the things are so tedious. I have to use a small brush for this detail. I don't like the moment it becomes that resentment, or like as you mentioned, distaste. Yeah, that's when it's like, oh yeah, you need to put down the paintbrush for a bit. So I think also because there's a couple of comments already that I think is leading to our final topic. We've talked about what is hobby burnout, what causes it, but I think the one of the better ways to go about it is like, what can we do about it? What can you do about it once you have this? We've diagnosed it, as you mentioned. We diagnosed it. We have our theories on and like thoughts of what hobby burnout is, what caused it, and now it's what are we gonna do about it? So before we start with our thoughts, somebody did bring this up. They said, I'm just grateful to have a sibling who enjoys similar hobbies. Kaya iwas burnout din kasi we challenge and push each other to try different things and themes, just like the Filipintanas community. Ah, nice.
Shout out to
Thank
Lily.
you. Thank you. That's super nice. So
No, but
that's a good solution.
you're right.
Yeah.
That is a gift. Having a sibling or a partner or very close friends, especially if they're face to face, right? It's much more satisfying Um, I don't know if you, I don't know if you have a bit of a sibling rivalry or more of helping each other, but definitely any of those would help you, push. And because your sibling understands and have the same hobby, you also give each other that allotment of time and mind space for each other, right? I mean, imagine if you have a sibling who doesn't understand the hobby. He would think that
Okay.
he or she would think that you're wasting time there painting plastic soldiers.
Oh, oh, too real. Oh, too real. I have an army of siblings. Okay. Shit. Like, oh, what are you doing? Oh my god, it's just plastic. It's just toys. Oh my god, it's just toys. Oh no. Internet disconnection.
Doesn't
No.
understand it.
Oh no, the disconnect kami.
If they don't understand the hobby, they're saying, why are you spending 3 hours late in the evening? Why can't you spend time with me?
I know. That hit too hard. That hit too. It's too real. Too real. Like but I'm glad you have a sibling that you can bond with, like less family members who kind of get into your weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's like you have vibes. Bless. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a very good segue to the third topic, which is how do you do burnout. So, well, maybe that's one of the things, like have a sibling, get into the hobby. But yeah, maybe for me. So by the way, we're gonna be coming off a little bit standoffish and trying to come up with some recommendations. So take it with a grain of salt. Again, we're not experts. My approach to whenever I have episodes of burnout is to embrace the burnout. What I mean by that is, for example, there are days that I just don't want to do anything, nothing. What I'll do is really tell my wife it's a DND, a do nothing day, and that's when we just bum around, watch shows, just lie around on the bed, order food, not cook anything at all, and just embrace it. Because at some point, you will have a burnout of that feeling, a burnout of your burnout, which is weird. Maumay ka rin sa umay. So, but one of the things I do when I embrace the burnout is I still keep in touch with the hobby by keeping in touch with YouTube videos on how to paint. I'll admit I'll watch some of the upcoming Warhammer miniatures just to get me excited. I would read some books or listen to some audiobooks. Just on the side, you're still in touch with the hobby. So when I say embrace the burnout, I don't necessarily mean to disconnect yourself with the hobby. And that's one of my first steps when dealing with burnout. Embrace it, because I know I'm gonna have it. And then it goes with anything else, including heartbreaks.
Yeah, I think embracing it is actually like in a cycle, like I mean, I have a psychology major, so like, but not to say anything, but I do agree with what you say. Embracing, it's just because a lot of people is like, oh, when I'm having this burnout, just keep pushing forward, fake it till you make it. That's not something you want to do. You want to allow yourself to grieve at that moment in time. Oh, I lost the joy of the hobby, or I don't have the time to take part of that hobby. That is something you can grieve for. Allow that thing, allow yourself to feel it, as you said. Embrace it. The burnout.
And look, if the cause of your burnout is what we said about other life priorities, right? Then part of embracing the burnout is focusing on those priorities. I mean, they're priorities, right? If you feel that you need to spend time on your health, then go to the gym. Hit those weights, hit the treadmill, whatever you need to do. So if you feel that the priority was work on work. I mean, you gotta do the deadline. You gotta work on it, so that you will do. I think you will have. The result will be two things. Either you're able to finish the priority and being able to tick the box and okay, that's done, right? Therefore, you're freeing up your time. Or two, you're getting into a momentum, and that momentum of achievement will have this feeling of micro achievements will spur you into almost a happy hormone feeling.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able to what?
The dopamine, the happy.
The dopamine,
happy
yes. I mean, and that's why video games have the new video games, right? They have this list of achievements because it gives you that dopamine hit when you achieve when you hit a certain achievement. So embrace the burnout. In cases that you have life priorities, embrace the priority. Soon enough, you will have some dedication of time, perhaps. But again, don't get disconnected with the hobby.
In the thing you mentioned about momentum, just like that momentum, Ron actually I think has a similar thought where he said, "My system is pacing. The hobby is more of a marathon than a sprint. Having a support group that can listen without judgment and acceptance, it's okay to step away for a bit, but keep in touch." So I think the solutions actually encapsulate a lot. You have the similar mindset of just pacing yourself, stepping away for a bit. And support groups are actually really good, like having a sibling, having friends that you can keep in touch with, so you don't really lose the passion that you had, or it can be rekindled, or maybe you can revisit it and have the passion transform in a different way. Like say you wanted to do painting, you wanted to do armies, but you fell out of love with Warhammer, but then you found Flesh and Blood, or maybe you found something else to is it Flesh and Blood that has the minis? I forget. There's a different one. But like you find a different franchise to get into, and that's okay. Get into Star Wars, get into the all the other releases. And all that fun stuff. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, I have to do the same thing. Maybe you just have to see it in a different perspective. Maybe instead of doing minis, you had to do busts instead, or maybe just full face, or maybe that kind of different angling of revisiting it. So
the other thing that you also have to, before we get into real steps, you have to ask yourself, is this a hobby for you? I mean, at some point in time, it could have been a hobby, but you have to ask yourself, is this something that you really want to get, experience and enjoy for the rest of your life, or for a few more years? Because if it's not, then maybe it's time for you to, as you said, move to a different hobby, maybe dispose of your other, tools, paints, miniatures, because it's not for you. And you're just forcing yourself to like this because at some point in time you did like it. That happened to me with some of the hobbies, like some of the games or card games I enjoyed back then. I soon realized, this is not for me. I'll sell it. I'll just focus on something else. So that I think we've got a couple of first steps for you guys. One is embrace the burnout. Number two, ask yourself if you want to stick to it. But if you've answered the second question with yes, I want to be with miniature hobby, now let's get to the real steps. So Mars, what do you do? What do you think you want to do to deal with hobby?
I think I have a similar thing. This one from Drill. Hi Drill. You switch to projects so I don't get the burnout feel as often. As somebody who does a lot of TTRPGs, I don't run D&D as often because I just love other systems. And there will be times like I'm running all of these systems, I have to switch to a different system. Or I have to switch from being a game master being a player a little bit. Switching up things, switching up projects. And then there'll be times, okay, I don't want to run a TTRPG, I want to play cards. I don't want to play cards. So it's like being able to swap to different hobbies, and having a couple of hobbies will help deal with the burnout. So it kind of lessens the stress to one of the to avoid the disconnect, to avoid the overwhelm. You kind of want to switch things up a little bit.
Well, you don't have to switch too far away from the hobby.
Yeah, it can still be within it.
Correct. No, I mean, an example would be instead of painting that army, right? You do a side quest. get one miniature from a different faction or just a single miniature and just do a palette cleanser painting, right? So let's say, for example, your army is all red because you've chosen to be, I don't know, Blood Angels or whatever. So you go to a different miniature and paint the greens, the blues, the yellows, just to get it, going. Now, if you're tired of painting, you can also switch to building. Or assembly. So I've had this situation wherein there was a point in time I liked assembly more than actual painting, which is funny, right? So because it felt more, how do I say this? It felt more mechanical than artistic.
Yeah,
It's like it's a difference between cleaning your car versus driving it. It's just a completely different subset, but it's still there. All the way to even priming the minis. It's a subset of changing the pace of. I would prime more miniatures, and I would do zenithal priming. I would do different colored priming. I do some experiments on priming, and guess what? I have a pile of prime miniatures. To feed back to what I said, my first suggestion was, if you're getting tired of the army, you get one miniature off the side and paint that. And guess what? I get that from the assembled and prime miniatures from what I just said. So you don't, and I like the suggestion earlier, switching crafts. So you could switch hobbies, you could do a different craft project, or you could still be in the miniature painting, but go on some of the sub processes that we have.
Yeah, do something like a variant of it, like just but still connected. And just going back, since we mentioned, embrace, we embrace the doing something else or focusing, doing something else within the hobby space. The support group actually lingered in with Ron's answer, because like one of the biggest things to get out of hobby burnout is to not only just have a support group, because just having that support group helps you rebuild the connection you had with the hobby. Because like when you have like your old DTRPG group of friends, or the people that you paint with, the one you talk shop with, about this hobby, having them just letting you feel that, oh, you weren't able to paint, oh, that's fine, how about let's just watch an anime. Oh, did you see about the latest video that came out of Warhammer? They created this official mini, like small film with the Astartes and stuff like that. So like they can still ground you and remind you again, oh, this is why I love the hobby. Like, oh, this is why. Because like it's actually the groups, like I will say from my experience when I was in that big burnout, when I lost my connection and that value disconnect with my previous group, like realizing, oh, we're not seeing eye to eye. You don't want to build a group, you just want to play a game. You don't want to grow the community, you just want to stick to your insular spaces. That's fine, that's you, but that's not my values. Being with a group of people and like finding your community, finding your tribe, finding your whatever you want to call it, your support group that can help you go like, oh, this is why I wanted to do D&D again. This is why I wanted to introduce CTRPGs to people. This is how I wanted to introduce miniatures. Like how satisfying it is to get all the paint work done and be like, oh my God, look at this small piece of plastic. I'm able to get the small piece of plastic to look like the actual thing. So like you have someone to share your joys, your pains, and you realize like the love you had, just it's because probably, like you said, life stuff happening, responsibilities, a loss that made you like lose that connection. They help you connect again, and I think just having those people is really good.
So since I shared earlier, one of the burnout sessions I had the longest one was because of an emotional trauma, right? So let me share what I did to get back into the hobby. So, and this is not my original idea. It was my wife. And she recognized that I wanted to paint, but I couldn't or was not painting. So, in one glorious weekend, she said, let's rearrange the room. You're sitting in a place and the aura is the same as when you had that loss. So we literally had to rearrange the tables. Um, I had a different setup now than before, and she was right. In a day or two, I got excited to try the new setup. At the same time, I started small with a few miniatures, very simple ones. I didn't have expectations, so it goes back to your perfectionism. It was like I didn't have any expectations. I said I just want to slap on some colors, and regardless of how it looks, it's okay. And then soon enough, the old habits kick in, the muscle memory, that thinning your paint momentum, the blending, the techniques, it'll just come back at some point, and you'll get excited again, and then again the dopamine hit will come in, and it's just that's what I got into hobby. The only difference that I would say is that because I have more life priorities, the time that I have for my hobby is much shorter.
Yeah.
So I gotta make the most out of those times. So allowing for example, my household knows that at some point when my daughter is already asleep, I'm about to paint. That's the idea. So instead of having 4 or 5 hours back then, I only have 2 hours per night, which is quite generous still for that. And there are days even that that's after my workout, my physical workout. So finding that groove, I think, and going back to finding what makes this hobby enjoyable for you is where you want to focus on. So say for example, as you said, if it's something that you find joy about, sharing each other's achievements, techniques, finished projects, you're committing constructively to each other. I think that's where a community would really help you get back into your feet. Your hobby.
Segue to if you guys want a supportive community, you can head on over to Pilipita.
Yes. And that's what we hope to do with Administados again, which is just post your projects. Whether or not people will comment, fine. But as much as possible, if you can comment in other people's projects, whether it's a thumbs up or say a constructive feedback, go ahead. Just because you might be helping a fellow Tado in their burnout, and that will give them the dopamine hit they need to make their projects and painting back again.
Speaking
How about
of painting, actually, this is funny. I just want to tell people in the audience. There was something that Milo brought up, which is funny that the real matte chainsaw is actually brought it up as a solution. You'll see why. Because his solution for hobby burnout is to keep buying painting materials. Every time I pass by a supply store hobby shop, the feeling of getting new stuff and building excitement to use them is my way back. And you had thoughts about this. It was funny. It's like, this is serendipity. You mentioned
exactly.
this. This
So
is like, you mentioned
I
this.
remember when right before we started, I said, Mars, we just have to caution people that if you're in a burnout, I would like to caution if you can avoid the excessive purchase. I don't want to judge real matte chainsaw, right? If you did that way, but I get it. It's part of getting in touch still with the hobby. So you buy the new box from Warhammer, or you download the new STL from something, or you buy a set of Kolinsky Sable with a promise that I want to get back to the hobby. Soon enough, it might pile, and that might be dangerous. So I'm not saying no to it. I'm just saying no to excessive of it, right? Yeah. I mean, just enough. So maybe, let's say for example, you don't do airbrush, and suddenly you buy an airbrush. Don't buy that airbrush because you don't, especially if it's a expensive airbrush. Start small, like buy a Kolinsky Sable brush first.
Or maybe like a bottle of like that paint, you need to refill. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just
don't buy
I
the
saw
entire
it.
box.
It was
Buy
just, it
one.
was so timing, so much timing. But yeah, I
But,
think
but,
like
but this is
there
true.
was,
But if it works for you, Matt, then great.
no,
Hopefully, you're able to to paint and get back to the hobby because you're excited to seeing that box. But I'm still
yeah, seeing
sitting
that
on
pain.
maybe easily 20 boxes of unfinished miniatures here. So I just want to caution people that if you're in a burnout, it might be an easy temptation to get to an excessive purchase, but it's not getting into an action. So I kind of like what Real Matt Chainsaw said. It's more of buying an item that gets you excited to get into painting,
But yeah,
right? Not to appease your burnout. So whether it's a new paint or set of paints or new tool or new miniature, with that whole vibe of I want to get back into the painting table because of this thing.
all right, yeah. It was timing when I saw it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna save that for later after we finish our thoughts. A couple more things. Hello, Kyo from Variable Play. He had some late minute, but we were in a different topic. But he said this is something interesting that he mentioned as a burnout. When you're the only one bringing the games, but aren't the one selecting the games, burnout is real. No, oh no, you bring all the things you want to play, and then you end up not playing the ones you want to play. That stings. That to me is less burnout, but more of a sting. Like, oh, why?
That stings.
brought
That stings.
That stings. That is pain. That is pain.
But
But
one incident of that is fine. But if it happens 2-3 times, I can imagine.
that's already the distaste becomes resentment. Like at that point, like kayo naman, oh, like let me play naman. Let's play my
Well,
game.
The other way to maybe flipping it, right? If you see a fellow painter, and he brings a painted miniature during your games, start giving constructive or even positive feedback on their painting. And maybe that's just what they needed. That small praise is what they need. It's like, hey man, I really dig what you did with the eyes here. Or your OSL is good.
Yeah.
That praise might save someone from the burnout. And they say,
reassurance.
okay, I'm apparently doing something, good enough.
Yeah, exactly. Again, reassurance, like a little reassurance, a couple of kind words, just like throwing like a compliment can do wonders. And another one from Keo. The fact that you reach a burnout is actually an achievement in a hobby. You've been doing something you love, and maybe your body can't catch up with your enthusiasm, or vice versa. Damn, like too real.
No. I remember somebody saying that it's almost like it's better to have loved and failed than to have never loved at all. It feels like that.
Oh my god. Oh god. Oh my god. I mean, very, very applicable. But yes. But thank you to everybody who commented, and yeah, I believe that wraps up our discussions with dealing with hobby burnout. I hope you guys got some insights and takeaways, which actually a little bit of I'm sorry to get added, but what is the most important takeaway in one sentence that you can give to people as we end the stream? One sentence from what we talked about. I know there's a lot we talked about, but what is the prime takeaway that you'd like people to leave with when it comes to dealing with hobby burnout?
Yeah. So we have come close to our hour.
Yes.
So for those who stuck around, thank you very much. And for those who commented, really thank you. It kept the conversation alive. Hopefully we can come up with more topics in our season 1.
Yeah, season 1.
Yeah, right. So that's our solution to having a burnout on this podcast. We've compartmentalized and said, let's make 10 episodes, and that's season 1. If we like it, we go to season 2. We don't go into
Exactly.
this when will this end kind of thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
With that said, any other announcements from your end, Mark?
Oh, none so far. We're actually leading with some takeaways on like ending it with the final lesson, like a lesson, one sentence wrap up. There's not much other than our next topic is how to build a community.
How to build a community.
So if you guys want to talk about community building, and especially for us, be in the context of building a community for the miniature painting, something niche. How do you build in a niche community like that? Like, how did we get, despite it being niche, we grew it to 1,000. So like, how did that happen? Explain how, or we try to walk you guys through the journey on how we got there to growing miniature community, and we can talk about other communities as well, a hobby community and how we grow those, because like I think there's a similar blueprint when it comes to like anything creative, anything hobby related, on how to get a group together, right? So that's a topic for episode 2. And
beyond that episode, we do have some planned topics as well, but we're welcoming any ideas. Send it over to our handle, or our Facebook page or YouTube, and we'll consider it to be part of the next topics.
You can put it on the comments down below. Yeah, you can leave it on the comments what you'd like for us to talk about next for our episodes. Yeah, and so my final takeaway, at least in one sentence, for this for our topic with dealing with hobby burnout: it's okay, it happens. Give yourself time, allow yourself to grieve, and know when to step away. Find your support groups.
Nice. Well, as for me, embrace the burnout, but keep in touch with it. And that's it.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much for joining in the first episode, and the first of many for season 1 for Usap, Tado. And until next time,
Halapinta. All right.
We're not gonna get it. We're not gonna.
Okay, that's our challenge for ourselves, to do that properly in a way.
We're gonna time it.
We're gonna time it properly. But for those who are new to Pilipientados, that's our I guess our battle cry, Halapinta, which roughly translates as just paint.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Just paint. Just do it. Just do it.
Oh,
yes. All right. This has been
so long, and thank you very much, guys. Till next time.
Bye.